This is Brian's Insights on Network 126. And here, once again, back right in your face, is Brian Fritz. Doing a episode, actually, the real episode, not just talking about where I'm filming at this time, which is a really cool place, by the way, We Labs. Link is down below to that. So I'm going to jump right ahead to how poverty taxes the brain. I read this article, somebody, actually the guy who invited me to We Labs, I'm jumping off topic again real quick, but he's the one who actually, he posted this article on Facebook, and I read it, and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. This is perfect because I was given this second free day to film in here. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do this article right here. So jumping right along, human mental bandwidth is finite, not infinite. I was about to say infinite. Human mental bandwidth is finite, not infinite. You've probably experienced this before, though maybe not in those terms, when you're lost in concentration trying to solve a problem, like a broken computer. Yeah, I've been there. It is almost like I wrote this. Self-taught computer technician, in case you guys forgot that. And by the way, I built the computer that I edited this video on. Just throwing that out there. You're more likely to neglect other tasks, like remembering to take the dog for a walk or picking up your kid from school. This is why people who use cell phones behind the wheel actually perform worse as drivers. Duh. I think that's pretty obvious. It's why air traffic controllers focused on averting a mid-air collision are less likely to pay attention to other planes in the sky. This reminds me of something about this time when I was just really stressed out about something. I forget exactly what it was, actually, probably because I just put a mental block in my mind because I didn't want to remember it. But I was just really stressed out, and the next day that I got up, I was cooking eggs on the stove, and I guess I was just kind of like in a zombie state of mind or something, and I went out just to step out for a minute because it was a nice sunny day, and I think I went to like go water my plants that I had or something, and then I look over and I notice the cars are dirty, so I grab the hose and I start spraying down the cars. And then next thing I know, my dad runs out, Brian, are you cooking eggs? They're burning. And I'm like, oh shit! I was like literally like my face like turned white. Like I really forgot. And my dad was just like thinking like I was going off the deep end or something, or I don't know. I even thought the same, but that's what this is basically saying right here, poverty taxing the brain. And I'll get to more in a minute. When you're worried about financial issues, and they're just it literally, to kind of explain it in like computer terms, for those of you maybe computer literate, it's like worrying about all these things is basically like it's like taxing CPU cycles, you know. For those of you who are technically minded, once again, for those of you who aren't, it's like, well, if you understand what bandwidth is, I'm trying not to be too technical, but it's basically, you know, you got a river flowing of water, flown full of thoughts, and all these worries are like these like little like canals being dug out on the sides, and then pretty soon you're left with this little itty bitty stream of a river, which is barely even, you know, a little trailing, you know, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I'm trying not to make this video too long. I'm just having fun filming in this new place. To jump right along here, we only have so much cognitive capacity to spread around. It's a scarce resource. This understanding of the brain's bandwidth could fundamentally change the way we look about poverty. Researchers publishing the groundbreaking findings today in the journal Science have conducted that poverty imposes such a massive cognitive load on the poor that they have little bandwidth left over to do many of the things that might lift them out of poverty, like doing videos when I'm sitting in a dining room and people are walking by and there's noise and I'm just sitting there like this, like, you know, I want my own space. Now, on the other hand, not to slam living in a dining room, because the other option, the alternative is the street. So, you know, there are two sides to the coin. I'm not totally, you know, I'm grateful that I'm in the dining room, because I could be out in the street, but I'm just highlighting the downsides and how it conflicts with my whole creative process in doing videos. So it's basically saying that they have so little bandwidth left over to do many of the things that might lift them out of poverty, like go to night school or search for a new job, or even remember to pay bills on time. Yeah, like a lot of the people that criticize me, hey, you're not, you know, you're slowing down your job search, you know, what's going on? You're supposed to stay positive, uppity, you know, get out there, be positive, put a smile on your face, be full of energy, get out there, just keep applying, don't stop. People don't understand. It's like, really? I don't, you know, you're just not in the right mindset. You're just, it's like being sucked into this vortex. It's like, you know, it's like the more pressures and financial worries and all this and that you got coming from all sides, it's like it's, you know, it's intensifying, and it's like this. Hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say. I find usually that people who are in a relatable situation that I'm in, or who have been in a situation, or at least who are very empathetic, tend to understand what I'm talking about more than those who aren't in my situation. They're very quick to speak otherwise and say, oh, you know, you're just making excuses, you're just running your mouth, oh, you know, yeah. So you live in a dining room, big deal, just do videos and quit whining, quit complaining, you know. I've heard it all, trust me. You know, you don't need to tell me again if you're one of those types. You don't need to go in the comments section and tell me, because I've heard it a millions of zillions of times. I think I'm going to have to split this into a two-parter video. In a series of experiments run, well, that's another thing, pronunciation of experiments. Experiments, there's different ways. MC Robin Hood, there's two different ways to say it, okay? Just had to throw that out there. In a series of experiments run by researchers at Princeton, Harvard, at the University of Warwick, low-income people who were primed to think about financial problems performed poorly on a series of cognitive tests, saddled with a mental load that is the equivalent of losing an entire night's sleep. Put another way, the condition of poverty imposed a mental burden akin to losing 13 IQ points. Let me read that again. Put another way, the condition of poverty imposed a mental burden akin to losing 13 IQ points. Folks, that is significant. I shouldn't even have to say that. That was very shocking to me when I first read that. Or comparable to the cognitive difference that's been observed between chronic alcoholics and normal adults. Man, you see what I'm saying here? You guys get it yet? No? Nah. Get off my video then, if you don't want to listen to my video and what I have to say, you know. Those of you who are listening, thank you for sticking around. I know this video is going all over the place right now. Something I'm very passionate about personally. The finding further undercuts the theory that poor people, through inherent weakness, are responsible for their own poverty, or that they ought to be able to lift themselves out of it with enough effort. This research suggests that the reality of poverty actually makes it harder to execute fundamental life skills. Being poor means, as the authors write, coping with not just a shortfall of money, but also with a concurrent shortfall of cognitive resources. My point has been made yet again. And with that, I believe I'm going to cut this video in half, and because I don't really have that much space left on this memory card, I got to switch out to my other memory card, and or switch copy to my netbook laying on the floor down there. So go ahead to part 2 right now. Jump to part 2 right now. Part 2. I don't know which direction it is. Is it this way or is it this way? I don't know. Just go click on it. It's somewhere. Click on it. Part 2. Brian's Insights, How Poverty Taxes the Brain, Part 2. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Go right now.